Hey, it's Mike Giannoulis with copywriterbrain.com. Welcome to the video. We're going to talk about the 6 types of leads that you can use to write great sales letters and ads. But first, something very important. I got a brand new tattoo. Thought I would show that off real quick. This is from my favorite show, Supernatural. It says, "Carry on, my wayward son." And that's the car in the show. This kind of sun thing is their default logo. I wanted to get the pentagram in here, which is the actual look, but my wife said no pentagrams, so we made a compromise. All right, so we're going to talk about leads today. What are leads anyway? You may be thinking, oh, that's like an opt-in, or when someone gives you their info and you call them. Well, that is true. That is a lead, but there's another use of the term lead, which is basically the kind of the start of a sales letter. So you kind of know, you might know that you begin with the headline. If you're quite fancy, you'll have your pre-headline, headline, and then you'll have perhaps a sub, and then you move into the start. Well, that start is known as the lead. And that's where you truly begin to kind of craft either a story or some kind of an element to pull people in to make them keep reading. Because as you may have heard, the most important thing that you can do to get your copy to convert is to keep people reading. The more they read, the more desire will kick in, and the more they'll ultimately sell themselves on wanting to buy your products, program, service, whatever. So there are actually 6 different types of leads that are very, very proven and that work very, very well. Now, I will tell you, I did not come up with these. This is not my invention. I'm not that smart. There's actually a guy named Michael Masterson who came up with these, and he's part of the Agora company. So they've been around forever. And these 6 types of leads truly cover all the different ways that you can open up with a story or with some kind of an intro. What's cool about these is that each one is unique enough that you could just write that one piece, but they also can be combined and mixed. And then when you picked your lead, it almost in a way helps you write the entire sales piece, because you end up having to write a certain type of headline to go with that lead. And you end up also having to have a certain kind of offer that makes sense with that lead. So it kind of ties everything together. So with no further ado, what are the 6 types, right? Let's just go through those. And again, I highly suggest you get the book, Great Leads by Michael Masterson. I believe right now it's only available on the Kindle. And so I will put a link in the description below. It'll be an affiliate link, of course. If you buy it from me, I make a few cents. The horror, but if you would like that, that would be great. So let's run through each of these 6 so you can kind of get at least a basic understanding of how they work. So number 1, the most obvious one, is known as the offer lead. It's the one that you're going to probably see the most. And this is like the direct approach to the lead, okay? And oftentimes you're going to use the offer lead for people that already know who you are. So if you're talking to existing customers, you're talking to people that are sort of way down on what we call like the sales funnel path. They've been around, they already know you, they like you, they trust you. By that point, you can just kind of say, hey, here's what I got. Frank Kern has a great thing he says where he's like, here's what I got, here's what it does, here's how to buy it. Right? I call that just the facts, ma'am. This is the fact that you don't need to throw in a hook. You don't need to pull them in. If you're doing like e-com stores or those type of ads, these are people that have already clicked. They probably already bought. They already know your store. Maybe they were at the checkout, but they didn't quite buy. Many times you can use within an offer lead price. So this is a great thing if you're going to run a special or a deal or a coupon code. You can just lead with that. So it could be like, save 20% now on your order, here's how. say, hey, in honor of Flag Day, we're going to be offering 20% off. You can just move right into the offer. So that's why it's called the offer lead, because you're getting right to the main point. You're just going to jump in and you're going to do it. The second type is known as the promise lead. Ooh, sounds fun, right? And this is basically just, it means to lead with the biggest benefit possible that your product or your service offers. And again, you want to make sure that that offer or that benefit is compliant, and that it's real, and that it's true, and that it can actually help people if they put it into practice. So an example here in like the weight loss niche would be like, who else wants to shed 15 pounds in the next 3 months using my tried and true, fat burn method? Okay, that's not that good, but I just gotta give you the idea there, right? You want to look for something that's a big benefit. So in this case, it would be the weight loss, right? That's the big thing that they want. And you're gonna show them throughout the piece how your product helps them get there. And what you do there is you would, if that was the headline, then the lead would go on and on about that promise. So you would talk about 15 pounds of ugly fat melting off your body. What would it be like? And you kind of hit and hit and hit again that benefit. So this is a very positive piece. It's more about the promise. Now, the third type of lead, which is kind of a switching point here, we're going to sort of change it up here, and that is the problem solution lead. Okay, now that is, again, that's the opposite, right? So what does that mean? This is focusing instead on the problem. So, and I don't really like these as much because they've become more negative, but they also work extremely well. So there's that trade-off between compliance, ethics, and it actually works. And if you believe that your product is so important that you want to get it in the hands of more people, but you want to be careful with the types of problems that you push, and don't push them too hard so that they feel so bad they don't do anything. So instead of starting with the product as you would with an offer lead, instead you would start with a problem. Okay, so there would be this problem that you're going to basically focus on. So you would say something like, are you tired of struggling with stubborn fat around the midsection? Finally, there's an answer. Okay, so you see there, we call out the problem, but we also began to hint that there's a solution. You don't want them to have no hope. You want this to be a new hope for them, something new that they can find that perhaps they didn't know about before. So you use the problem because that's what they're most aware of, right? Their awareness is really at the point of their problem. So especially things that cause pain, arthritis, all those kind of things, it's very easy to call out the pain because they're obviously feeling that pain. And your job then is to iterate on the pain, to explain it and talk in a way that they would talk like, and explain what that problem is like. That's how you open with a great problem solution lead, is going on and on about the problem so they can relate to you and go, wow, that's me. They really understand me. If they can understand the problem that well, and then odds are they understand the solution that well. And that's the magic that makes that happen. All right, and then we move on to the big secret lead. Now, this is one that I think is sort of going out of style in the sense that it's very hard to pull off if you ever want to run any kind of paid traffic. They just don't like these kind, but they're the most fun to write, which is kind of the sad part. And the big secret lead is where you basically never quite reveal what you're talking about. You kind of talk about this thing, maybe you give it a unique name, but you don't really say what it is. So as you can see, if you're going to write ads for like Facebook, Google, any of those guys, they want to know, they require that you disclose what it is you're going to sell, what's the price, how does it work, all those things. So this is one that you can more or less weave in elements. So you could have sort of secret elements to your process that perhaps you don't reveal, but you do have to reveal more about what it is. One of the kind of ways that this one is still used quite a bit is with all these like stock picking companies. So they'll run this offer about, in Iowa on a small farm, there's a man named John Smith, and he was playing in his tractor one day and he uncovered this incredible thing, right? And he went ahead and patented it and turned into this, and it becomes this big story. But then there's this secret, because it's like now this company recently purchased John Smith's patent. And if it gets out there like we believe it will, it could double, triple, quadruple the results, right? So it becomes this thing, and the curiosity kicks in, like, what is it? What's this secret? What company is it? And of course, when you buy their product, they're going to reveal what that company is. So that could be your first investment. That's sort of where the secret lead plays well. Again, I don't really love this one anymore, because I think like these days, the audience, they just want to know what it is. Like, what am I going to buy? Do I care? So, all right, let's go on here. Number 5, the Proclamation Lead. This is a great one when you want to just disarm the reader with some kind of a startling fact or some shocking detail. Something outrageous, something bold. This works extremely well with predictions, like man who predicted 2008 crash now predicts the coronavirus crash. So that becomes this amazing prediction piece, and you can kind of see now, you almost in your own mind, you know what's going to come next. You have to say, in 2008, everyone said he was crazy. He was called insane, a kook, a madman. But guess what? He was right. And now in 2021, he's predicting this. And people say again, he's crazy. He's a kook. He's a madman. But guess what? Odds are he'll be right again. And then you move in and you see how that's pulling you in, building up the curiosity. So if there's a cool fact or stat that you uncover in your research, then feel free to throw that in there, right? Just throw it in, and you'll probably get a lot of attention, which then you can translate into sales if you do a good job throughout the rest of the sales piece. All right, let's talk about the last and final one. I say the best for last, and this is the one that's used probably more than any other, and that is the story lead. So the story lead is probably the oldest of all time. It probably started in the Bible times, like Adam and Eve. What did they do? They told stories, God's like, where were you? And he's like, oh, I was over here, and the wife did this thing, And so the idea of stories have been around forever. Our brains are wired for stories. We absolutely love stories. So how do you use this? How do you use this when you're going to create a story lead for your ad? Very easy. All you're going to do is you're going to open with a story of the product creation, or maybe of the product creator, or maybe a testimonial story from someone else. Really, any story that has an emotional appeal that connects to the reader and pulls them in. Bonus points if you can use the story as a way to mirror the current story of the prospect. So this is why there's so many of those like rags to riches stories, because most people can relate to the starting point, and their goal is to get up at the ending point. They want to get there, so they feel like if you started where they were, and then perhaps they can get to where you are. So great stories really pull things in, and you can even open your headline with, this story is so unbelievable, you have to see it to believe it. However, when you understand this story, it may be the secret to unlocking untold whatever, right? It could be anything from that point. You want to get people to read the story, and you can always begin with the action. Begin where there's something happening that's like action driven. So this could be something as simple as, the year was 1968. I stood in the jungles of Vietnam. My best friend laid next to me, bleeding out of his chest. And I thought this was the end for him and probably for me. Instantly now you want to know more, right? We're humans. We want to know. I want to know, where's that going to go? Does the guy survive or not? And how's this going to tie in to whatever else I just read? And how is this going to sell me something, right? All those things aren't conscious, but they're being pulled out of us because, again, humans love stories. We just do. That's why we watch films and read books and TV shows and all that stuff. All right, so those are the 6 types of leads. Again, if you want like a full breakdown of this, I highly recommend you get the book Great Leads by Michael Masterson. My link will be below in the comment. If you want to check out my courses and my programs, just head over to copywriterbrain.com. I also have a free community just for copywriters and business owners who need to write ads. If that's you, go to copywriterbrain.com/community. It's completely free. Would love to see you over there. And until I see you again, thank you. I'll be enjoying my new tattoo. So see you soon.